Hey everyone, so today we are doing an experiment. I have 3 different cell activators here and I want to see which one gets the best cells or if they're all about equal. So I have a combination of Australian Floetrol and American Floetrol. They are all Amsterdam titanium white. This one is 1 part Australian Floetrol, 2 part American Floetrol. Then I have the traditional Australian Floetrol, 3 parts Floetrol to 1 part paint. And then I have paint and water, 2 parts paint to 1 part water. I think I have that correct. So let's see what we get. I am just using up a bunch of leftover paints here, and some of them I can tell you the colors, some of them I can't, and we're going to just go with the flow. This here is leftover paints that were scraped up off of my table, and I am going to use that for my base. And we're going to keep everything the same with the exception of the cell activators. Let's give that a good pop. And then I have this deep purple that's also from table scrapings. It's a metallic purple. It's really pretty. I used this in my last painting that I did, where what did I do? Oh, my straight pour. It was so pretty and it dried beautifully. All right, let's come in some Rich Art turquoise. I've been wanting to do this experiment for a while now. I just hadn't really had time to sit there and mess with mixing all the different cell activators and all that stuff. Plus, at the time when I first thought about it, I wasn't really confident in my abilities, so I didn't want a whole ton of extra paint or extra cell activator. But now that I've been doing them long enough, I'm pretty confident in it. This here is my custom carmine mix. And I've got a lot of bubbles out of that base. I know I mixed it right before I poured it, but I didn't mix it that hard. And it's been sitting there on my shelf for a while now. Alright, and then we're going to do a little bit of titanium white just to brighten this up just a little bit. Or a line. come back with just a little bit of gold. And this is my custom champagne gold. It is a combination of silver and gold. That was a little thick. That's that. Let's start with our Australian Floetrol, American Floetrol mix. Oh, I guess maybe I better pop some bubbles first. This one, I am concerned that it is too thick, but we're getting some pretty cells, so maybe not. All right, now the regular Australian Floetrol. These are not my recipes. These are recipes that I have got from other artists, with the exception of the mixture. I did, instead of 1 part each, I did 2 parts American and 1 part Australian, just because it seemed like it was really, really thick. Again, beautiful cells, but we knew that was going to happen. Much faster reaction. And then finally, paint and water. And this was my thinnest mixture. And boy, is it thin. And again, we got some really pretty cells. All right, so let's stretch them out. I may not have enough paint on here for this. We will find out. And I know this is probably really hard for you guys to see what I am doing. cells are going to be a little wonky because I do not have enough paint. So far, so good. Let's set this a little more level. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and add a little more paint to both of these since we know they're not poor enough to begin with. That was a bit much. Okay. Now it's regular Australian Floetrol. I'm not really worried about composition on these. This is more about testing the cell activator. I think I'm going to have to use these colors on a vase. It's pretty. Okay. So far, both are beautiful. And finally, paint and water. And I really think this one was way too thin. Normally I do 1.5 parts paint to 1 part water, not 1 part paint to 2 parts water. Alright, so there we have it. Three different cell activators. All three, you have cells. If I were going to do something different, I would thicken up the paint and water mixture. I think that it is just too thin. Okay, so just going off the wet results, I am really torn between the regular Australian Floetrol and the mixture of Australian Floetrol and American Floetrol. They are gorgeous. Now, like I said before, my paint and water mixture was a little thin, and I'm sorry about the glare from my ring light. Oh, my light above me. I'm not real thrilled with how the cells held together. I've used paint and water before, and I've gotten better results than this. So I think it's my mixture. That is the Australian Floetrol. Those cells are so pretty. They held together really well, as expected. And this is the mixture I've never used before. This is the American Floetrol mixed with the Australian Floetrol. The cells held together beautifully. I love the lacing through this. I'm very, very impressed with this. So I may start using this mixture so that I can make my Australian Floetrol go further. But I want to know what you guys think. Mixture, just Australian, paint and water only. Alright, we'll be back with the dried results. Okay, so here are the results of the comparison with the cell activators. I went ahead and off camera thickened up my paint and water cell activator and did another test piece. And there is a huge difference between having it a little bit thicker and a little bit thinner. And it's all in your preference. So let me bring you in for some close-ups and show you what we have, and then I will tell you what I think about each one of them. Okay, so this here is our mixture of Australian Floetrol and American Floetrol. Beautiful cells and lacing. They're a little stretched out, but that's because I didn't have enough paint. I love, 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 love all the white that shows up through here. I think if you went a little bit thinner on the mixture, you wouldn't have quite as much white, but I actually like that. And then this here is just Australian Floetrol. Of course, you get the results that you would expect, the white lacing, the beautiful cells that hold together. And then this is the thinner mixture of the just paint and water. As you can tell, it's got pretty cells and lacing, but their shape is different and they didn't hold together as well. But this here is where I thickened up the paint and water. I'm sorry about the glare from my light. But the cells, oops, that's not fully dry. That's okay. The cells and lacing through here are absolutely gorgeous, and the cells held up so beautifully. So I'm really, really happy with this one. I would have to say, if I had to choose a favorite, it would definitely be the thicker paint and water. And just because we've got the rounder cells here, I really love the cell definition on this one. So, cost-wise, your paint and water is probably going to be the least expensive and the most available to everyone. And then your most expensive is going to be your Australian Floetrol, with your Australian and American mixed being the middle of the line on these. I think all three of them produce gorgeous lacing and cells, so it's really up to you which one you want to go with. If you don't have Australian Floetrol available to you, paint and water is your way to go. There are ways to do it with just American Floetrol or glue and water, but I did not test any of those. But I had this on my mind for a while, and I've been asked a few times to do this, so here you go. Let me see if I can show you side by side. Paint and water, mixture of Australian and American, and Australian Floetrol. There's really not a huge difference in those. So, yeah. You decide what you like best and go with it. Because, as you can see, you can get beautiful cells with just paint and water. Alright, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. All of the wonderful things. It helps me to grow my channel, and it is free for you to do. If you would like to support me in my art journey, I am more than happy to sell any of these pieces to you. Also, if you want to just make a donation, just send me a message or comment, and I will get with you and give you my PayPal information or my address if you just want to send a gift. I'm always happy to receive gifts. So, yeah, anything helps. But, yeah, thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.